Welcome to Backyard Woodworking. Been a week or so, I think closer to 2, since the last little project. Today I got an idea right here. Very simple. Scrollsaw blade. This is some half-inch cpvc pipe. It's the stuff you can use for hot or cold water, or you can use PVC just for cold, but this will take hot. It's more the same size as copper, let's put it that way, if you bought copper tubing. It's a little smaller than the conventional PVC pipe. But these blades are so tiny that you could fit virtually 144 of them in there without a problem. And here's a little cap, keep the dust off. This cap, to find the length of these, I just took a blade. Here's a piece of cpvc I had left off a job. I did some plumbing for somebody. And I just took the blade and marked it how long it was on the pipe. Cut it off on a bandsaw. Simple. Make as many as you want. cpvc is inexpensive. If you want a bigger, use 3/4. You could put anything you want. You could use 1-inch pipe, put drill bits in it. If you had a bunch, say one size you used all the time. Make it any length you want. Now these caps are, I think I paid about 26 cents a piece for them. Very inexpensive. You can glue them on if you wanna, but if you just push these on. Now this one here is tight because I put it on and I bang it like so. It makes it tight. But this one, it's just to keep dust out. Enough said about that. Now, probably can't see this too well, but I kind of laid out what I'm doing. I'm going to make 3 holes across, 1, 2, 3, and 4 down. That'll give me 12 different sized blades. And believe me, that's probably more than I'll ever use, but I got room to grow. Right now I only have 5 sized blades. And I get my blades from a place called Flying Dutchman. You can Google that and buy them by the gross. Get 72 of them, buy assorted packs. They got all kinds of stuff and patterns for scroll saw work. Now, I figured this out. Take a rule this high and figure out where I can put it, and et cetera, et cetera. And what I'm going to do is cut a couple pieces. Now I'm going to use MDF to make it. This is going to be a prototype I'm making. I have some poplar around here, and I can always get a hunk of oak or something, but I'm going to cut this 4 inches. I'm going to cut 2 chunks off of here, 4 inches wide. And then I'll give you the other dimensions. I believe we're going to make it 6.5 and 7.5. I'm going to cut 45s on the end. Now you could use just butt joints. That'd work. You could use a locking miter joint, but there's all kinds of joints you can use. I mean, just a locking dado joint would work. I mean, but I wouldn't use that with MDF particularly, but you could. Be better with oak or poplar. But I'm gonna use just a plain 45 on the end of each piece. And what I'm going to do is just tilt my blade over and lower it down. I'm going to put a little spline in it to give it a little extra strength so it won't fall apart. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my trusty pencil here. I'm going to cut about a 1/2 inch off the bottom. I'm going to put a miter, cut a slot in there, a dado. And then about a 1/2 inch from the top, 4 inches down, so that'd be 3.5. I'm going to cut another one. And then I might, in the middle somewhere down here, cut a 1/3. I'm going to check it and see if the tubes wobble, because I'm going to drill holes in some, let me see here, let me get a piece for you. I got some 1/4 inch ply here. Just old cheapo 1/4 inch, nice on one side. The other side's got, it's used for underlayment. Luan. I'm going to cut 2 pieces out of this for a top and a bottom, and maybe 3 pieces totally to put it in the center. And I'm going to drill some 3/4 holes that I can drop this into. And it'll be sitting down, like say maybe like this, so you can grab the top. Now all I got to do with these tubes, I can paint them if I wanted, but I'm just going to take a marker and mark like a number 1 blade, number 2 blade, whatever size blade I'm going to put in here. And you can have different types of blades. You can put you can write it on the side of the tube this way. Anything. You could even mark where you cut the holes in there. You can put numbers on that, so you know you put that tube back in the same spot all the time. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do it. But these blades, you know, when your eyes get a little old and you need these things to see up close, it's hard to tell a number 3 blade from a number 5, and whether it's a Scrollsaw reverse or whatever, you know what I mean? So by separating, I bought 72 blades. I think it cost me like 18 bucks. Not that expensive. And I got 5 different sizes. And instead of throwing them in an envelope and fumbled around and then trying to figure out which way's up and down on the blade when you use it, what I'm going to do is just put them in this tube, facing the right way up. All you got to do is take it out, take one out, and use it. Of course, this one was upside down, but it doesn't much matter. No, it wasn't. And there it is. That's the right way to go for that one. I believe this is a 5. I'm not sure. See what I mean? But it's an older one, so it doesn't matter. But that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to begin by cutting a couple pieces of this. I have some MDF here. I'm going to use this for a prototype and see how it works out. Works out pretty good. I might make one out of oak for my own personal use and just scrap this one. Okay, let's get started. Alrighty, we get the saw ready to go. Plug her in. We're good to go here. I'm going to set my fence for a 4-inch cut. And going to get a little noisy. We got 2 4-inch pieces. Sure your blade stops. We're going to have to do now, we're going to go down. Got to take the knife out. And what we're going to do, get the saw set here. I'm going to go a 1/2 inch from the blade. Going to set the blade depth 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to set it same thickness as my material. Now this is not a rip blade in here. This is a kind of a fine blade. Now with the 1/2 inches, I can run this through here on these 2 pieces. I'm going to run it on the top and the bottom, both sides. Turn around, run it this way, then run it this way. Same on this piece. And that's going to give me a little slot, 1/4 inch deep, to put this in when I cut the sides. Alright, let's go. Now, piece of scrap. I'm going to do it again with a piece of scrap. Now I have my depth set. Now what I'm going to do now, blade's approximately 1/8, and this is approximately, if you look at it here, a smudgy under. So what I got to do, I got to move my fence. I can either move it closer, or it doesn't much matter with this thing. I'm going to move it in. Just not quite 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to try this test piece here. Grooved out. I put another groove in the middle. That way we can fit our plywood in here nice and tight. Fits in there pretty good. And in here and in here. 3 sets of plywoods. Now, what I got to do is cut these. Now, what I need is this way here. I got to cut 6.5 inches piece. What I have is my fence set at 7.5, and I have a 1-inch block here. Okay, little camera problems again. As I said, I mitered one edge on my boards. I cut a 3rd slot down the center here, so I can have 3 pieces of plywood in it. One at the top with the holes in, one here with holes in, and one here just for a bottom, so it'll bottom out. That way it'll keep these little tubies sitting straight up in the air. They'll sit down to about that length. That gives me plenty of room, basically, to pick them up. General idea here. Okay, now I got to cut these things to length. Now, according to what I figured out here, I should be about 6.5 inches this way and about 7.5 this way. Or 8 inches, excuse me, lengthwise. Because I was going to use 1/2 inch stuff, and I changed it to 3/4, so. And an extra for that. I'm going to cut these at a 45, cut one end already, at 6.5. Have my fence set at 7.5. This is a 1-inch block. That'll let me pass by without a bind and not create a problem. And here we go. piece. Just like this, the same distance. Duh. Alright, this gives me two identical pieces here for that size. Now I'm going to need a piece, according to my calculations here, about 8 inches long. So I don't think this will be 8, so I'd have to set this over here at 9 inches to give me 8 inches. So here, I have this piece here. Now I got to have this lined up here like that. And this one's got to be this way in, so I got to turn this way. And that should do it, I think. There. Providing the camera didn't go dead. I got a box. Now I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to move it down. Now there's what we got. Come on, move. I got a dog here. It's always in the way. She's a pup. And whatever she is, I have no idea. It's a sooner. Sooner getting away than whatever. At any rate, there we go. Now we have our box that we need. Next, we're going to need some wood to fit in that. Okay, now I have about 1/4 inch here on each side. So, probably easier. Put my glasses on for a start. And we're going to use a decent ruler so that we can read here. Here's a good ruler. Now, if I go into the 1/4 here, and over here I got 6 inches in, so 6 1/4 ought to be plenty. And then I got to go 1/4 in, and down here it'll be 7 3/4. So I got 7 3/4 by 6 1/4. So we can take our pieces here. Put them away. So I need 7 3/4 by 6 1/4. All right, now I had a pencil, I'd be a brilliant person. Alrighty. Run your pieces through, and I put the good side, in this case, facing out. There. And when that's glued up, that'll make a pretty tight joint, I would think. Alright, now that's that. Now I'm going to cut one more of these pieces here, because that little piece of scrap I had, I could only get 2 out, and I need 3. I got some more. Okay, I'll cut one more and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, we have a bottom in the piece here which will stay there. I have a center section, well that'll actually be the top here. It doesn't matter, they're all the same size, so I can move it around. We'll put this up here. This would be my bottom. Face it out like that, and that, and that. So now I have the bottom end. Okay, now down near the bottom here, it'll be another piece facing like this, and then a piece up at the top like that. Now here I got to drill some holes in. So we got to lay out the holes. Now, taking my trusty, get to my stuff here, I got to start cleaning up. Alright, I got approximately 6 3/16. Now, what I'm going to do, half of that distance there, find the center of this, and draw a line down the center here. Now I'm going to lay this out on the back side. That way all my lines won't show. So what I'm going to do is flip this over and we're going to lay it out on the back side. Now half of that is 3 and what's half of 3/16? 30 seconds, 6 30 seconds. So 3 30 seconds here. So what I'm going to do, this ruler does have that. I can also use millimeters, and damn near right there, this is exactly 30, so I can use 15. That's easier to work with in this case. So take this, lay this out, like so, and I get 15. So I want to make this exactly on this end. I want to make this exactly 3. And that'll be right down the middle. Okay, now I have this distance here, which is going to be, I cut these back a hair so they're closer to 7 5/8, which would be 3 1/2. 7 1/2 of 5/8 is 5/16. So that gets me up there to 9/16. 3 9/16. So I got them laid out. Take this square or any other square you got floating around at the time. I like a longer square. I don't like working short squares. Now this is one of these, this isn't a starret, but I found out that this darn thing is pretty accurate, so maybe I lucked out. Here's my center lines. Now, short distance here, I need 3 holes, so half the distance between here is where the other hole is going to be, and here's the center hole. So, here's what we do. We find out what this distance is here, and we end up with the 3, not quite 3 1/8, so 1 1/2 and plus a 16th would be just about right. So you go 1 9/16. And you be pretty darn close here. Now, after you get, let's get some more grabberoni here. Alright, that'll work. And we're dividing this basically for the 3 holes. 1 hole in the center, and 1 hole and half of this distance on each side. Now, that gives me my 3 this way. Now, as far as going down, all right, I'm going to put 4 holes this way. So, I'm going to have a hole in the center of each of these 2 squares. So, whatever this distance is, here, which ain't no biggie, go. We got this taped together now, as you can see, and I'm going to put this on the drill press here, and we'll line this up. I'll zoom in on that for you. Okay, now what I got to do here is set this up. I have a fence. That I can use like so. Now this is a good little thing to buy, or make. It's nothing more than a sheet of plywood under here and some hardboard on the top, and I used the MDF because it's nice and straight for a fence. Glued two pieces together. Here I cut like a T-slot for T-bolts. Here by cutting a thin slot for the MDF basically, just by spacing the pieces apart and gluing them down over a wider dado in here. That's all there is to it. Now this is your replaceable insert. They're just cut at an angle on the end there. I forget what the angle was now, but I made a bunch of these darn things. And it's bolted down to my table, so that's all you got to do. Now, once this is lined up, I can just go along here, theoretically, and drill them. I should be able to flip this around, and these should line up if I did halfway decent here. And they ain't too bad off. They're about a 16th, but I got my tapes hitting here too. I'm going to get rid of some of this tape. And I think if I do that and then drill down the center, I'll be pretty good. As long as I got them located to one way, I should be pretty darn close. Both sides. Yep, that'll do it. See what we get with this. And there we go. Well, we got a little sanding going on in that. I'm going to take my good old glue dispenser here because my glue bottle, I dropped it and the top cracked. Imagine that. This is a good makeshift glue dispenser. Right, we're good. This stuff soaks up some glue. This MDF. That's why I'm getting a halfway decent coat on her. Now that'll all clean up with a little water. Alright, so now we're going to bring up one side here. See if we get these lined up. Like so. Now, I just take this . the tape does a pretty good job of holding your joints pretty flush. I got a little extra pressure here and there. Well, here it is the next morning. I got the clamps here. I'm going to take the clamps off. All these wonderful clamps I got. Another expense, I need about 65,000 more clamps. Alright, we have a box. And we've had glue sitting here all night. Nice crisp corners. This tape works good for doing miter joints. It's a good, you really don't even need a band clamp when you do that if you get tape sticks well. Now, if tape don't stick well, the best thing to do is clean the dust off it. Like attack trained killers out there, 10-pound dogs attacking something. Alrighty, there you go. You have a box with 3 partitions. Well, 1 partition in the middle. You got a bottom, a top with holes in it, and holes in the center. You take your thing here. What I would do is put the bottom on good and tight. This don't have to be so tight. Now, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to take and sand these from where they mold these little caps here. It's hard for you to say it probably, but there's little bumps and stuff where they come out of the machine. And even around the top here, I can roll this on a sander like so and clean all that up so it slides in the bottom better. But this is going pretty tight if you bang it down, but I think it's still, I might pick up some cpvc cement and just put a dab on it and glue these ends on. That way they won't get stuck, but you see they fit very nicely here. And all you do is take this out, the whole, see the little grabby things there slowing it up, but basically, you got your tube, and you can just write on the cap or on the side of the tube the number Scrollsaw blade you got, or whatever else you want to put in these. I mean, if you're into, like my daughter-in-law, she makes necklaces and stuff with beads. You could make something similar to this. Different size tube, make tubes any size you want. You could use 1-inch pipe or whatever. Put whatever you want in there and put different colored beads in there. Now if you could go to a craft store or something and get some clear plastic tubes, with a cap, that'd work better. You see what's in it. But I just happen to have this, and this would work for what I need it for, scroll saw blades, because I can't tell which blade is which, basically, if I just throw them all in an envelope. So right now I have 5 envelopes with different numbers on them to try to keep them separated. Well, it's a pain in the neck when you got to get another blade, so I figured this would do it. I can just number these 1, 2, and number the spots where the holes are. I'm going to use a magic marker, but I might run a round over a bit around the top of this to ease the edges, sand it off, and spray it with a can of paint. And I can even spray the tubes if I want and just call it a day. Well, thanks for watching. Next project up in the air yet. It might be a scroll saw, or I might be doing one on a table here for a drill press. I have several other ones in mind. Well, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. And we'll talk to you next week.